Hello ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Hilly here. This is my Deftones albums ranked worst to best. Been in the pipeline for quite a while, and about a week and a half ago they released Deftones, their new album, their 10th album, Private Music. I've put it in the ranking today, but it's going to be very difficult to, rank that when it's so new amongst other albums that I've known and liked and listened to for years. I've given it my best shot. I've given this whole ranking my best shot, but who knows whether I'm even right with my ranking, because it is one of the most intriguing and I think best discographies of a band that I've done so far. Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen, I've done many more of these. If you check my channeled playlists, you will see a ranking maybe from a band that piques your interest. I'm about 10 to 15 of these now. A few artists similar to Deftones in there. And yeah, this is going to be a long video, so if you click below the actual video itself, there will be a timestamp for each album when I start talking about each individual album. If you want to maybe dance around and find out what I think of a particular album, if you're interested, maybe the new one or my favourite, etc., my least favourite, a timestamp for that, and a link to my favourite song from each album as well. Now, I've made notes on these songs. I've listened to them quite a bit. I've just spent the last 3 weeks listening to nothing but Deftones because I wanted to do this album ranking right. I wanted to put effort in. I'm not a musician. I just love music, and this band have made some fantastic music. But yet and still, we're going to have a different opinion. I've not seen anyone with my ranking yet. I've seen some very close. I've also seen some incredibly different as well. That's absolutely fine, ladies and gentlemen. What I'm saying here is there's no point in getting angry at me if you don't agree with the list. I've certainly not got angry at other people as well with the list, because it's a very solid discography. And I'll be honest with you, I'm still not sure. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose. I'm still not sure whether I agree with my own bloody list. That's the insanity of it. But I'm going to try and make this a little bit shorter than an hour. Jesus Christ. Because I've already made this once and I was too slow. So, I can't discuss in full detail the way I feel about these albums thoroughly. So we're just going to try our best, go a bit faster and see what happens. In at number 10, ladies and gentlemen, I'm loathed to put it there. I'm loathed to put some albums that people will love close to the end of my list, but it is what it is. I just want to say that this band have got no bad albums at the very worst. Like the next album, my least favourite, I think is still very good, but it is Gore, released in 2016. And I want to articulate the best I can as to why I feel the way I do about this album. Well, on Wikipedia, when you look, it says here that there were creative tensions in the band at this point. Chino, it says here, and lead guitarist Stephen Carpenter. It was like Moreno playing Morrissey to the guitarists Meshuggah, and that kind of does sum it up. And Stephen Carpenter, apparently, according to the Wikipedia page here, didn't play much of a role in the album's sound and the guitar playing. I mean, obviously playing guitar, but he didn't come. He was just told, do this, do that, and he did it. And I think that might have maybe a factor in regards to why the album is my least favourite, and indeed a lot of fans' least favourite as well. The worst songs here I just find a little dull. I don't find them as interesting. I don't think the production's as good as Koi No Yokan and Diamond Eyes, which came before it. And also, you do have to mention the fact that on the first bassist of the band, Chi Cheng, he passed away 3 years, I think it was, before this album came out. And obviously, if you don't know, he was in a coma for about 5 years until he passed away. So that must have been tough for the band as well. Maybe that played a role. And Chino here on the Wikipedia page says it's not a happy album, but it's not incredibly aggressive and dark fully as well. But you always get in the later years that balance with Deftones. They're trying to find the right formula, and by this stage they've made so many albums that that's just the way it is, the formula. And this is a little heavier, this is a little quieter, this is a little bit more experimental, etc. And with this one, for me, the songs just don't stick. Prayers and Triangles is one of my favourites for sure. Doom the User is the one I'm putting as my song of choice. Phantom Bride featuring Jerry Cantrell and Mr. Alice in Chains himself. Great. I find that the album is kind of back heavy. I like the songs towards the end. Gore as well, very aggressive, bit more reminiscent of their earlier style. Rubicon's pretty cool. Hearts and Wires, I think that was a single, I want to say, I'm not sure. There's some good moments here, but the production's not as good. I feel, Stephen Carpenter's very talented. I feel maybe his lack of influence is one of the reasons why this is my least favourite. It's just the way I feel. Yeah, I do apologise. In at number 9 now is an album which I really like, and I should mention how I got into the band. Well, it was 2008. I was sailing on the Pirate Bay, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not gonna lie to you. I was on the uTorrents. I was on LimeWire as well. 2008, 18 years of age. I downloaded Adrenaline and Around the Fur, and I just thought, what the hell is this? I'd never heard anything like it at the time when I was that age. And when I listen to Adrenaline now, it doesn't sound as kind of raw and kind of DIY indie and lo-fi, and the dynamics aren't there, and the quieter moments maybe don't work as well as, well, they definitely don't work as well as what they do in the later era of the band. But the band still understand the dynamics. There's still quieter moments here, but Christ almighty, when it kicks off, it is very heavy, aggressive, anger-filled as well. And lyrically, it's more immature than the later albums are, because they're much younger here. But this is still a solid album. I don't go back to listen to it that much anymore. But yeah, the songs are still there, they're still all good, and it is consistent as well. And I could have easily put this about 6th or 7th in my ranking. It's just that I don't go back to it. I think it's more consistent than a few of the albums, the next two that are coming up, but it doesn't have the staying power for me because of the lack of variety. But like I said, there are quieter moments here, but they just don't work as well, in my opinion. Engine number 9 is my favourite track from the album, everyone knows that, and 7 Words as well. Many bands do this, obviously, that incorporate aggressive guitars. Metal bands like a repeated word with it alongside a groove or a fantastic guitar piece, and that song does that. I really do enjoy it, and Chino sounds pretty good here, but he would sound better in later years. I really like Adrenaline. I'm loath to put it at number 9, but I am doing so, even though there's some fantastic songs on there. If you are new to the band, I would say listen to Around the Fur first, though, because I think that gives you a good balance of everything. And of course, White Pony as well, if you're new to the band. Don't want to give my ranking away just yet, but yeah. Now, next up, ladies and gentlemen, in at number 8, it is Saturday Night as I write this, and a lot of people love this album, but I just don't see it. It is Saturday Night Wrist, released in 2006. And it says here on the Wikipedia page, Chino Moreno was going through a failing marriage at this time, drug addiction, and it is his least favourite album, and it's also the last with the first bassist Chi Cheng as well. Some absolutely cracking songs here, some great moments. This album running at 51 minutes in length, so it's the longest we've spoke about so far. 12 tracks as well. Hole in the Earth, absolutely sensational opener. Rapture and Beware, pretty cool. Beware, very atmospheric and brooding. 6 minutes in length as well, one of the longer Deftones tracks. Cherry Waves, big fan favourite. I'm a little bit mixed. I'm okay with it, but I don't love it. Main, featuring Serge Tankian. This song has never done it for me. It's aggressive, not aggressive. It's got a lot of energy at the start, but it's not aggressive, and it just feels weird. And then by the end, it's just like, yeah, this is System of a Down Light, and I just don't love that song. And then the Konami chord, up, up, down, down, absolutely sensational. Great instrumental, very nice pacing in the midst of the album, works well. And then Xerxes, I think that's pronounced, Xerces, beautiful track, very atmospheric and balanced. And then you're waiting for some heaviness, you get it with the next track, which is called Rats, Rats, Rats. But I've never been... sometimes I enjoy listening to that song, and sometimes I don't. Chino does sound great on that particular track though, but then, oh dear lord, the worst Deftones song in my opinion ever, Pink Cell Phone, where it's got this kind of religious chatter about it, this religious speech, it almost sounds like, by what is being said by this female voice, and then she goes on a long rambling rant about Britain, and I don't know where they got this from, but they are talking about some absurd things here, ladies and gentlemen, which beggar belief, and I would be blushing right now if I repeated the lyrics. I don't know where they got them from. I don't know what they were thinking of. It's not atmospheric. It's not like a lovey-dovey song. It's just bizarre, and it just seems to have been, I don't know, let's put some left of field nonsense here just because we can, and let's see if it works. And it doesn't, in my opinion. Pink Cell Phone, worst Deftones song ever, in my opinion. Then Combat and Riviera towards the album, end of the album, kind of, yeah, I like them. They're okay, but I don't adore them consistency-wise. For me, this era of Deftones, and the next album, bit of an issue, but Kimdracula, my favourite song on the album, the one I'm putting in the drop-down box and putting a link to. I absolutely love this song. Great imagery with Chino singing, I wish these snakes were your arms. It's easy to listen to. It's not one of the most complex tracks, but it works really well. Saturday Night Wrist, I just feel like consistency is an issue here. It could have been tidied up. It could have had a few of the worst tracks taken out. It's got some great songs on it. There are no bad Deftones albums, like I said before, but it's just one of my least favourites, guys. I do apologise. Next up, ladies and gentlemen, well, it's the self-titled album released 2003, and I see this towards the top of a lot of people's lists, and I get it, and I do like this album more than Saturday Night Wrist, but yet again, we've got some inconsistencies here. This album, of course, coming after White Pony, the band's most commercially successful album, won a few awards, made them probably a decent amount of money, so the struggle was real to create an album that followed that up but didn't keep things the same. It says here this self-titled work reflects both continuity and change in their sound, offering a dense, emotionally complex musical experience that subtly shifted their artistic direction. And yeah, this album really does come out of the blocks and just wants to remind people of the aggression and the metal vibe of the band, because Hexagram and Pins and Needles have got some astonishing heavy guitars. Before with the Gore album on Wikipedia, we mentioned about Meshuggah. I don't know when the band found Meshuggah, but when they started to take inspiration from them, definitely with Diamond Eyes and Koi No Yokan, I think it helped improve the band, and I think Stephen Carpenter and the rest of the band just went up another level. But here, yeah, absolutely awesome first two tracks, and then Minerva as well. Very front heavy here though, because some of the songs later on aren't quite on this level, especially right at the end of the album in my opinion. But Minerva is a beautiful but kind of heavy song at the same time. It's loud. It's kind of like a slow-paced, heavy song. And Chino here with exclusively clean vocals. He sounds great. And there's some middling songs here again, which I can give a take. But When Girls Telephone Boys, I don't know why I was sleeping on this song when I was younger, but it is heavy and it is very, very angry as well. What a great name for the song as well, though. And Chino singing, and I hope we never meet again. He just repeats that line, and like I said before, you get a repetitive vocal line and you're saying it again and again. Well, it could be dull if you don't make sure the music's good, and at that time it is good, and you're screaming along with that motherfucker. He's going absolutely apeshit. And if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, during this album or in the touring of the album afterwards, around this time, Chino really damaged his vocal cords, I do believe. And I can't really hear that when I listen to the Deftones discography, his newer, the band's newer material. He can still scream at times, but he's in his bloody 50s now, he's not a spring chicken. But yeah, good album, not amazing. After this, the consistency for me personally gets better. I don't think consistency is much of an issue personally. Bloody Cape, I think, is the song that I'm putting in the drop-down box. Definitely one of the heaviest on the album. First ones to fall off of the earth. Fantastic lyric. Said I really like the drums here. I'm just looking at my notes here, ladies and gentlemen. They're punchy, loud, work well. Brutal ending of the song with lyrics, God help me, as well. Anniversary of an uninteresting event in Moana, I think that's pronounced. They're okay, but they're not great, and they don't feel like they should be closing the album, in my opinion. personally don't feel like great closers to the album. And next up, ladies and gentlemen, at number 6 and number 5, this was very tough indeed. I listened to this album a few weeks ago, and on release this album, I remember on Sputnik Music especially, which is an album, a website I frequent. It's full of people who like mumble rap and black metal. Very interesting picks indeed. Deftones are well loved on there and talked about a lot. And this album had like a 4.1 out of 5, and then it slipped down to a 3.9. I thought it was number 5. I listened to it, really enjoyed it, and then put it back to number 6. So I loved it, and then I put it further back in the ranking. It just shows you the quality. And from here on out, these top 6 albums for me, consistency as well. It's Ohms, ladies and gentlemen. Released in September 2020 during the Corona, 46 minutes in length. Recorded 2019-2020, so it was earlier than the Corona when they started it. And I just think the consistency on this album is really good. It's not incredibly heavy. It's not one of the heaviest albums, but it's not light at the same time. It's incorporating a bit more in terms of the electronics as well. We'll talk about that in the next album. And I enjoy all of the tracks here. My least favourite track won me over. I hadn't listened to this for quite a long time, probably like 6 months or so. I listened to it in full, obviously, to do this ranking, and thought, you know what? My opinion of this album is improved. And like I said, I'll put it further back. So let me just have my notes here. Yeah, the album opens up with Genesis, Ceremony, Urantia, Error, The Spell of Mathematics, Pompeii, This Link is Dead. That was my least favourite song on the album, the most aggressive one. My most favourite song, the one I'm putting in the drop-down box, Radiant City, pure Koi No Yokan inspiration. I fucking love that song. Headless and Ohms as well. Like I say, I personally at least like all these songs. And Genesis, as I'm listening now, because I have got Spotify open, I just wanted to listen to a few of the tracks. Oh, I just put my feet down there. Opening up with... Oof, I want to listen to this shit now. Some electronics. The other instrumentation slowly coming in. 30 million listens on this one. An absolutely glorious track to be sure. And I've put it's heavy without being fast or overly aggressive. And they've really tried to strike the balance for that in the last few albums. The bridge or the pre-chorus is my least favourite part of the song. But overall, this is a great track. Better production than previous album as well, I've put. These are my notes, ladies and gentlemen, from weeks ago. So apologies for a bit of crap. Ooh, Christ almighty. Ceremony. It's an illusion. There's Alexander Hilly vocals for you, ladies and gentlemen. I know, they're beautiful. Very catchy at times, this album, I feel. But, 46 minutes in length. A lot of tracks here over 4 minutes. So there's a lot of musical content. And you can't ever say that this band have tried selling out, in my opinion. Error's fun. The Spell of Mathematics, maybe a less immediate track. Some eerie vocals here I've put in my notes. I don't love this song as much as other, but I do appreciate the chill vibe of it. And then Pompeii, I put 4 stars. Yes, I was giving these songs stars. There's a seagull in this track I've put in my notes. I wasn't being that serious, was I here? Oh yeah, the Jesus Christ part. Suddenly gets quite aggressive in the chorus of this, when the verses are really kind of melancholy and chill. And the vocals dancing around the guitars, it's something which has been amazing in my opinion since about Diamond Eyes. As you can obviously tell by my list, there's a lot of more modern albums here, but not all. Yeah, gorgeous instrumentation, absolutely beautiful. And let's have a look here. Oh shit, I've lost me. Where are we? Yeah, This Link is Dead is probably the most aggressive song on the album, and it's aggressive, but it's mostly the vocals which are aggressive, but the music's not doing that much. There's a guitar in the background during this track, and Chino's vocal performance is what won me over when the last time I listened to this. It's only got nearly 7 million plays on Spotify, and it's the least favourite song on the album, which I find very interesting. Maybe people agree with me on that one, I'm not sure. But it's aggressive, but the vocals are carrying the aggression, whereas usually it's the exact same, or you can hear that guitar at the forefront of it all, like a lot of the songs on the self-titled album. But here, no, it's Chino really carrying that aggressive, and I enjoyed it a lot more. But my favourite on the album, Radiant City, put here, very easy to listen to song, it's catchy. The "Where's the Ledge" part is a little strange, and I can see some being annoyed by that. And then you get the very melodic post-chorus, the guitar riff, and strikes a nice balance. Yeah, great groove, oh indeed. And then the end of the album as well, Headless, let's listen to that. Some nice chuggy guitar coming in, stops, out, in, out, stops. Great. There's a lot of that on this album. And yeah, I don't think there's any missteps here, but why is it at number 6 then? Why did I put it at number 6? And I would say because although this album is more consistent in my opinion than the prior albums we've listened to, I don't feel that the best of this album is the best that the band have done. And I feel the best of this album is very good, it's consistent, but it's never, not anything blowing my socks off, blowing my headphones off my bald head, ladies and gentlemen. But in at number 5, oh, it's a contentious one. I'm going to have a quick little break after we talk about the 5th album here, because it's the middle of the track listing. I've been doing this for a while now. It's Private Music, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, indeed, the new album, which the Zoomers are absolutely loving. Hello Zoomers, how you doing? I'm a millennial. We were the last generation to know what the world was like before it all became shit. It was pretty good, trust me, the 90s were good. Didn't know Deftones back then, but it was good. But yeah, Private Music, I moved from number 6 to number 5, and the reason I did that was because, well, I've listened to the album 4 times. It still isn't enough. One of my bugbears about this whole YouTube game, people reacting to music, is that people act as if you immediately love an album or hate it, or you can make your definitive opinion on it immediately. Well, of course, when people are making money off music, I'm not talking about the people who make it, but on YouTube, your clickbait reactors and people discussing the technicalities of the music, they might have skin in the game. They might find it beneficial to clap like a seal and pretend they love it when they actually don't. But someone like myself, I'm a huge fan of the band, and if something's not grabbing me on like 2-3 listens, then it might just take more. Sometimes music takes time, and today I listened to it for a 4th time. I listened to it 3 times on my own, and then one of my favourite music reactors, a lady called Molly Sanborn, who is definitely one of the best in regards to always saying something that I appreciate what she hears in the songs. She's really cool, and has listened to, you know, some of my favourite bands for the first time for her in the last couple of years, and I always appreciate listening to what she's got to say. I do recommend you check her out if you've never heard of her. If you're a Deftones fan, you might have though, because they're one of her favourite bands. She actually just yesterday uploaded Private Music, and I thought, well, this is perfect. And she cuts up the songs a little bit to avoid copyright. Not everyone does that, but it's the way that she wants to protect the channel. It's her prerogative, that's cool. But I listened to, along with her, watched the video, and I was like, you know what? I think I'm going to put this to 5th, Private Music. I feel in time it's going to be better than Ohms, and I feel that it's towards the upper end of the discography more so than the lower end. It's still consistent. There's 1 or 2 tracks that I like less than others, but overall, pardon me, call a bloody repeat on me. Yeah, it's a solid album. I don't think it's quite as incredible as people are saying, and not that it's necessarily a bad thing, but I would say this is probably the least heavy Deftones album as well. Even though before it said Stephen Carpenter not getting involved with Gore. There are some like sickeningly heavy riffs on that album, and there always will be on a Deftones album, of course. But yeah, I think this album, it's not an issue for me per se, and you know, these guys have been making music for a long time now. We might have seen the heaviest era already. I think we probably have. Who knows what they're going to do next, because they'll be in the mid-late 50s by then. But yeah, Private Music, 10th studio album, released, well, 8 days ago as I made this video. Only 42 minutes in length, but 11 tracks. And we open up with My Mind is a Mountain, which was one of the first singles. And this is pure Koi No Yokan inspiration. And that is the same with the 5th track on the album. I'm dancing around the track listing here, guys, so my apologies. But it's fresh in the mind. Souvenir. This song, a lot of people so far aren't talking about as much. It's over 6 minutes in length, but is very reminiscent of my favourite Deftones song, Rosemary, from Koi No Yokan. That is, oh my lord, what a track that is. You're hearing that album quite a lot in this ranking, ladies and gentlemen. Some people are going to get triggered. Unlucky. But yeah, Locked Club, Ecdysis, Infinite Source, CXZ, I Think About You All the Time, Milk of the Madonna, Cut Hands, Metal Dream, Departing the Body. No bad songs on this album. They're all very good. Departing the Body is a great closer, another longer track, and I wouldn't exactly call it progressive per se, but there's moments here on this album when you can tell they've gone, well, let's have an electronic edge, let's have the synths going off, and the keyboardist here, Frank Delgado, really coming into his own. Abe Cunningham on this album, the drums are just more technical sounding than the earlier albums, and Chino as well, not lyrically, but vocally on this album, I feel like they just said, right, I'm going to sound like Morrissey in this moment, I'm going to sound like Mert Lanigan here in this moment. Music fans who know these artists will know what I'm talking about. I think is it Souvenir or Infinite Source? Wait a minute, I've got my notes here, ladies and gentlemen, so we will indeed find out. Well, it's Departing the Body. This intro, very, very melancholy, very brooding, very ominous, I would say. And the low vocals, I thought it was someone else, and everyone did. And all the clickbait reactioners will be going, whoa, who was that, dude? Oh, motherfucking Mel Lanigan. That guy left the building a few years ago. But no, it's Mr. Chino Moreno, ladies and gentlemen. Those vocals caught me off guard. I couldn't believe it. And then it all kicks off and it sounds like a Deftones song again. But it does sound great. And I have to say, Departing the Body, it reminds me of Graphic Nature from that album, Koi No Yokan, where he goes, how the fuck you doing? Na 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 na. I fucking love that song. Some nice synths going on. It sounds like that, in my opinion. I say it's a little repetitive, but it works well as a closer. Great drums, great ending track, and Souvenir, man. Oh dear Lord, I love that song. Constant Zeros on CXZ. I sometimes get a little bit perturbed by the way that Chino sounds on that song, and I don't like Milk of the Madonna as much as My Mind is a Mountain. And I say here on Locked Club, you know how I was saying about Mert Lanigan, or Chino with low vocals for about 10 seconds, and the Morrissey vocal, which I can't find my bloody lyrics in my notes at the moment, but he's also doing rapped vocals on Locked Club, the second song on the album, making it sound like Adrenaline. He's just trying to do something a little bit different in all these tracks, you know, because they know at this point in the discography, if they were a band 1 or 2 albums in, no one would bat an eyelid. But because they're 10 albums in and they've made so much music, they know that hardcore fans will be like, whoa, that's so different. And there's quite a few moments like that on this album, and it's pretty damn cool. Oh, here we go. It's Infinite Source. People love this song more than any other on the album. I think it's people's favourite, and guess what? I think it's my least favourite. I don't know why, but I don't like this track as much as others. And yeah, in the middle, the way that he's singing that, people have said it sounds like Morrissey. It certainly does. Yeah, it's not one of my favourites, that, to be sure. But Private Music, it's pretty new. I'm putting it slap bang in the middle of the discography at number 5. And now we move on to number 4. So I just had a quick 5-minute break, ladies and gentlemen. Got myself a little orange. Ooh, look at that. One for you Boards of Canada fans out there. And I just wanted to say with Private Music, one of my favourite things about that album is the electronics and the synths and the space they give the music to breathe. I think it is one of the best things about Private Music as well. So next up, ladies and gentlemen, in at number 4, it's an album that was initially at number 3. I had Ohms at number 5, I put it back to 6, Private Music. This next album was at number 3. I moved it back to number 4 because of how much I love number 3, and I couldn't deny how much I loved it. It's Diamond Eyes. And at number 4, I've seen this down people's list. I'm juggling. And I've seen it at number 1. I don't know why people would dislike this album personally. What I would say is there are a few tracks which are very catchy and maybe a little bit simplistic for the band, but I absolutely adore this album, and I remember it coming out and I was thinking, wow, this band are getting better as they go on here. I was a fan of the band by this point, but I wasn't overly keen on Saturday Night Wrist and Self-Titled all the way through, of course, but I love the albums earlier. But quite simply, great production. I think by this stage, Stephen Carpenter has found the band Meshuggah. He has been listening to them. There are some chainsaw riffs here, ladies and gentlemen. Just the guitar tone sounds gnarly and heavy as shit, but the production's great, spacious, and just absolutely beautiful. Maybe the band at this point inspired by, you know, wanting to make a great album for Chi Cheng, who was in a coma, of course, and the unreleased Eros as well. They were keeping on the back burner at this time, but these songs are just great. Opening up, Diamond Eyes, 3 minutes in length, very easy to listen to, very catchy, chorus, verse, chorus. Yes, the band have made more complex songs, but I think as an opener, it works really well, and it makes you intrigued to listen to more. Just see my notes here. Even on my list, it says 3rd Diamond Eyes, but no, it's number 4 now. Then Royal, I've put here, we start to get some chainsaw riffage from this point in the discography, inspired by perhaps bands such as Gojira and Meshuggah, but I think it works well. There's a nice melodic part of this song during the chorus. We've put I'm on your team, but the grooves and riffs steal the show, the ending becomes heavier, and is absolutely headbanging goodness, one of the best screams in the discography, and overall a great song that is, in my opinion, better than the first track. That's Royal, let me listen to it. Oh, fucking awesome song, man. At this point as well, Chino's singing in amongst those heavy riffs, and then just as I stopped the song, the 15 seconds in, he's going into this, what's the verses, is it? Just such a good song. You know, maybe it's because I'm getting older, and I am old now, but sometimes I look at a certain song, its name, and it doesn't resonate with me what it is, and Royal was one of them. I can't explain it, and I don't know why that's the case. It's not like that with the next song on the album. I think maybe it's because I don't think the name Royal is actually used in the lyrics. I might be wrong there, but yeah, absolutely fantastic song. And then Command and Control. This is only 2 minutes, 25 seconds, ladies and gentlemen. And this one, it shows an evolution of the band. It's spacious. It's groovy. But Chino sounds angry here. And the chorus is more melodic again. Just fantastic song. Really groovy. And then a song like You've Seen the Butcher. Some strange plucked guitar noodling here to begin with. And I love the chorus here. Master, down, down. Some sexy songs on this album, ladies and gentlemen. Is this the sexiest Deftones album? I don't know. It's up there for sure. And that is very much the same as Sex Tape as well. But that's actually quite a beautiful and melancholic song, and it is indeed a great song too. Even songs which aren't my ultimate favourite, I really enjoy. Something like Beauty School. Would I put it in my top 5 songs on the album when there's 11 tracks on it? Maybe not, but I still really like it. And then Prince, what did I put for this? Yeah, the YouTube comments mention RX Queen, and I can definitely hear it. Yes, it does remind me of that. And the post-chorus where he sings, "You can't stop me now, no, 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 no," that is sick as well. I do apologise, you have to hear me singing, ladies and gentlemen. The one I'm putting, though, in the drop-down box, I don't care if you've heard it a lot. I think it was a single when the album came out, although it's only got 32 million. There's a couple of songs with more plays. It's Rocket Skates. I just think this is such a fun song. And, you know, doing this worst to best so far, I think Deftones have got some good lyrics. I think there's bands that do this kind of music and rock, metal music, that have got worse lyrics than them. I don't think they're the best lyricists ever, though. But there's something I really like about the lyrics of this one. Your red soaking wet. And then guns, razors, knives. I mean, it's very violent imagery, but Christ almighty, this part that where he's singing over that riff, one move that will keep you wet, let's fall in a long sadistic trance, put the keys in our hands. And then he says the lyrics that I just said there. Just an absolutely astonishing balance of melody, beauty, and heaviness as well. It's such a cool song. I remember listening to that when the album came out and I was loving it. And then Risk, which is a great song as well. This has to be one of my fave songs on the album. Oh, wow. Oh, yeah. I will save your life and for you. I've put in quotations here. Atmospheric, beautiful, verses are groovy and cool as fuck. A great track. It's one of the best on the album. The 976 Evil, don't know why it's called that. One of the more melodic, chill tracks. I just could just sit here and say how much I love all these songs. This Place is Death. What have I put here? Themes of love and romance. The music complements this well. This album has got some of the grooviest and heavier guitar pieces in the band's discography, but it's got a lot of sweetness as well. And you can say that about all Deftones albums at some stage, but consistency, production, I Love Diamond Eyes, number 4, crazy how good this discography is, ladies and gentlemen. Some people are going to have it in the top 3. I understand that, but I don't understand people who've got it further down the list. Maybe they see it as a little simplistic at times. I don't know. Not sure. But ladies and gentlemen, let's move on. I can't be here all bloody day. In at number 3 is an album that was originally at number 4. No, not 4. That's 4, ladies and gentlemen. But I moved it to number 3, and not because of the lady with not much clothes on the front cover. It is the second album released in 1997. It is Around the Fur, and holy shit, what can I say? I listened to when I got into the band in 2008, alongside Adrenaline, when I hadn't listened to many albums with screamed vocals, and with Adrenaline it was like, whoa, I don't think I loved that. That was too raw. I don't like the vocals, and I don't think I can get into this. Where are the dynamics? Blah, 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 blah. And then I listened to this, and it was like, ooh, no, the dynamics are better, the vocals are better, I can understand them more, there's more going on in the mix, etc, etc. The band are doing more experimental shit. I don't know what to say. But it still sounds heavy, it still sounds metallic, and there's some absolute corkers on this album. Yeah, you see this high up on a lot of people's lists, a lot of older people. I don't know if I am considered older. I don't think I am, to be honest with you, with the band, because obviously when this album was released I was 7 years of age, way too young to be listening to this kind of music. And although I listened to chart music on the radio, I didn't really fully get into music in terms of full albums until my early mid-teens, and it wasn't this kind of aggressive rock and metal music until about 17 and 18 even. But yeah, this album I've listened to since listening to the band, and it's very consistent, and it shows such a great evolution in such a short space of time, which you can tell that the band are eager to explore, but it's still heavy as shit. And because it's so consistently heavy, you might say that some of the later albums, which incorporate better production and electronics and more complex drum patterns and all that kind of shit, will be better. But no, I just think this album is a fantastic new metal album, and whatever genre you want to call it. Let's check out the notes here, but this might have been the album that took me a little bit back. I thought, yeah, maybe by now it's number 4 or number 5, but no. There's one song on the album which a lot of people love. It's the only song on the album which I gave a 3 stars to, and said, you know what, personally, I'm not that keen. It's the 3rd track, the quiet song called Mascara. I don't quite get this song. I don't think it's one of the more entertaining tracks. My Own Summer, Shove It. Legendary song, isn't it? What more do I need to say? Great riffs. Chino sounds awesome. Sounds really thick and loud. Labia. Yeah, production is all obviously better by now. Around the Fur. Fantastic. And if you don't know, the album title is about someone being quite simply beautiful on the outside but ugly inside. I know a fur coat can represent that, and people who wear them, some shit like that. But Around the Fur, the song itself, is a legendary track, one of the best on the album to be sure. And then Rickets, I've put nice groove and great vocals, both scream and whispered. With this one, I also like the lyrics as well. Yeah, this one is very, very chaotic. I think too much, I feed too much, I've gone too much, I skate too much, showcasing the band's mentality at the time and the love of skateboarding, no doubt. I snore too much, I'm blowing too much, I ate too much, I'm way too much, too stuck up. You're probably right this time, but I don't want to listen. You're probably right this time, but I don't even care. So, still aggression with the lyrics, for sure. And it's not something that I've spoke about, but I have to say, in the midst of this ranking, the lyrics have gone more kind of out there, left of field, a little bit more kind of like, what are they singing about? Oh, this is intriguing. A little bit more poetic, for lack of a better word. And sometimes with the earlier albums like Adrenaline and indeed Around the Fur, it's just about anger and aggression more so, and being angry at people and fuck the world and all that kind of shit, which started to change with the 3rd album, White Pony, in my opinion. And then, of course, Be Quiet and Drive Far Away, the first Deftones song I ever heard, and it was probably the year before I got into the band in 2008. In 2007, a website that wasn't YouTube, I can't remember what it was called, but back then there were other video sharing websites like Live Leak and whatnot. It wasn't Live Leak, but it was basically a skateboarding compilation, and Deftones song was on it. It was, yeah, Be Quiet and Drive Far Away, and I was like, wow, this is an awesome song, very catchy. Chorus, verse, chorus, a little bit repetitive by the end, but they just keep going with that groove, and who can blame them? I think they knew they were onto a winner with that particular track, ladies and gentlemen. My favourite song that I'm putting on the album, though, is Head Up. All My Days. This song, talk about motivational, but heavy as shit as well. This song could help you run through walls. It's got to be one of the most aggressive from the band, but dare I say that I'm contradicting myself now with what I said about the lyrics, because it's very inspirational. If you're a fan of the band, you'll quite simply know what I'm talking about. Max Cavalera, absolutely fantastic from him on this track as well. The main man of Sepultura, of course, he helps out big time. Lotion, Die the Flute, and then MX as well, which I do believe features female vocals from, it's Abe Cunningham's wife. And I didn't used to like this song when I was younger because of that dynamic of the female vocals, and it's quite loud, quiet. But now I've grown to like it quite a lot. where they're kind of singing back and forth to each other, and the main riff is so heavy. I absolutely love that track. So yeah, Around the Fur in at number 3. Now I want to keep this under an hour, ladies and gentlemen, because this video is so long, it's ridiculous. Now I've spoken in the midst of this video quite a lot, if you can believe it, and I've given you guys maybe a few clues as to what my ranking would be, and I wouldn't blame any of you for thinking this would be number 1. Maybe I'm just too cowardly to do it, but no, I think I'm right putting it here. I think it's where it needs to be. But I'm telling you now, there are people who think this is one of the worst the band have released. What are they smoking, ladies and gentlemen? We're all being respectful of each other here, as fans of the band, of course. But this album's fucking amazing. It's Koi No Yokan in at number 2. Released just 2 years after Diamond Eyes, and that is, I do believe, probably alongside the first album too, Around the Fur, the second album, the shortest time, to get back in the album and release a new bunch of tracks. And this continues what made Diamond Eyes great, but it increases the atmosphere to 11. It's got some, in my opinion, some progressive tracks on here as well, which aren't so chorus verse chorus. Experimentation, electronics are amazing. Technicalities of the guitar and drums. Chino sounds amazing. Balance of heavy and soft. Absolutely beautiful. I would have this album on vinyl if I could. And that album cover as well, I'm not saying anything about the album covers. Some album covers are great, and some album covers, like Private Music, what is that about, man? There is a reason that the snake is on the album, to be fair, but yeah, the album cover of Koi No Yokan is just so nice. And Koi No Yokan, I can't remember. Oh, here we go. It's Japanese language translating to Premonition of Love. Isn't that amazing as well? This album, ladies and gentlemen, running in 52 minutes in length, late 2012. It's got great reviews on Wikipedia, and as it should, in my opinion. But oh, who's not there? Who's not there? Oh, it's Pitchfork Media. Wait a minute, they were giving it 4.7 before, the self-titled album. Now they're absolutely nowhere to be seen. Don't worry, I'm going to eat this orange after the video, ladies and gentlemen. They're nowhere to be seen with Koi No Yokan. Bloody idiots. But yeah, Swerve City, man. Let's get into Swerve City. I think the music video for this had a woman on a horse, and isn't that just great imagery? Someone listened to the song, I think, and just went, that's a driving feel. Look, I'm on my horse, ladies and gentlemen. Or you're actually driving in a car. It's got a great energy to it without being overly aggressive and heavy. It's just cool. Running in at 2 minutes 44, these guys know how to do an opener. When have they not? They're all good songs to open up the album. Romantic Dreams. Well, what a great track listing. I even love the track names, I should say, on this album. Not a really heavy song. Gorgeous chorus. Guitar sounds astonishing even when it's not trying to be heavy, And another glorious song that I just dearly love. Leathers. Now, great song, not one of my favourites on the album, and it was actually a single. I always thought this was a weird single. And then, Poltergeist. Woohoo! Dear Lord, has anybody heard that riff? This is definitely up there with the most aggressive songs in terms of the guitar tone. And yeah, it sounds so good. Entombed. Oh, beautiful song. Graphic nature. Absolutely astonishing groove. Guitar and drums playing alongside each other here at the start. I don't know what to say about these songs, which isn't really good for this video, is it? Tempest, another song where the guitars are heavy and chuggy as shit, but they've realised that you can have a guitar tone that's heavy, but it's still melodic. And Tempest as well, fantastic. 6 minutes in length. Gore's, and then my favourite Deftones track, which I'll speak about in a minute, called Rosemary. Amazing. And when I came back to this, I always looked at it and thought, you know what, Goon Squad and What Happened to You, I don't remember these tracks, and it's almost like the B-sides, or they're going to bring the album down, and I was really worried, because off the top of my head, when I look at Rosemary, I know and love that song. I know what it sounds like in my head, but those two tracks I had to listen to remember them, and I'm doing so now. And when I listened to them, I was like, oh, this is an awesome song. It's a song which works for the flow of the album. It sounds good. It's a bit more heavy after Rosemary. And it's a song that gets forgotten about, in my opinion. Chino screaming his ass off there. And then What Happened to You? It's a bit strange as a closer, but I like it. I like the percussion there. Abe Cunningham, I don't know, man. I feel like he took double drum lessons after White Pony, because the guy's just been getting better and better. Very interesting, but I guess that's practice, isn't it? And learning new techniques and whatnot. Like I said before, I'm not a musician, but I love all the songs on this album. I could listen to it now. I really don't understand why people don't like it. And, you know, the song that's the longest has the most plays. It used to be the opposite, I used to find, but I think people are now realising that, you know, if you look at progressive rock as a genre, progressive rock fans aren't put off by a song being amazing when it's very long. And Rosemary's nearly 7 minutes in length. I think it might be the longest track in Deftones' discography. It's got a very elongated intro, very elongated outro. They both sound atmospheric, ethereal, beautiful. The middle, you've got some heavy guitars there, but for me, this is the quintessential beautiful Deftones song. Everything about it, it's gorgeous. And the moment in the song where Chino says, stay with me as we cross the empty skies, come sail with me, there's just something that, even doing a video like this, you know, talking about the music so much, you can't put your finger on it. It's just perfect. It's amazing. It's my favourite Deftones song outright, dare I say. I think it's as good as perfection. Amazing, beautiful song. Got goosebumps thinking about it, ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, but in at number one, well, you know what it is, don't you? And I showed this off because I've got it on vinyl, ladies and gentlemen. If you click on my channel, have a look on the playlists, you'll see, I think it was the last vinyl pickups video I did, and I will be doing another one in the next couple of months. I purchased this on vinyl. I think it is the best. I think it's a place in time, a place where Linkin Park, hey, I love Linkin Park's first two albums, and Limp Bizkit. I liked the old Limp Bizkit singles back in the day when I was a kid. They made some good songs, they're good musicians, but you can't compare them to Deftones, that's insane. But there were a lot of those kind of bands getting into the mainstream, and more than Deftones did. Probably on MTV, if MTV cared about music back then. I think it was stopping caring music in the late 90s, wasn't it? But Deftones never got into the complete mainstream as much as those bands, but who gives a flying fuck? It's White Pony, released in June 2000. I know you probably didn't want some people for it to be number one. When I made this list, I kind of wanted to say, no, maybe I want to put it at number 2 and 3 because I love Koi No Yokan. I'd be happy to say that's my number one. But this album, it's about balance yet again. We can't help but talk about it, not just with Deftones, but with any kind of music. If an album's not got balance, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's not going to be great, you know. Fucking, I don't know, Napalm Death, for example, not a band that I've listened to before, but it's grindcore, it's fast as shit, and it's heavy, and you're going to have to take a paracetamol for your headache, and, you know, a folk band who don't, you know what I'm trying to say. There are bands out there, or AC/DC, that's great. It's just butt rock. It's just the consistent same flow. Since after around the third, Deftones have obviously not been interested in that. They've wanted to have a dynamic of rock and metal and melody and beauty and shoegaze and heavy. There's folk songs as well, all in the mix. And I feel that this is the best album for that. This album running in at 49 minutes. I could forgive people for saying this is the second, third, maybe fourth best, but anybody who's got it lower than that, I think you've got to get them in the mental asylum, ladies and gentlemen, for sure. Production is great, instrumentation fantastic, and probably some of the most legendary songs of the band's discography, such as and songs which I've said this a few times now, but I think this is when this band became great and got the balance, and it's the best kind of tracks. Ones such as RX Queen or Digital Bath or Change. Yes, there's heavy guitars there, but they're not absolutely brutal. They're just in the mix. It's a heavy chorus or verse, and then, oh, now we're going quiet again. Chino is being sexy, he's being broody. He's being a bit quiet, for example. That's when this band are at the best, in my opinion, and Change finishes this album off. Or in a song like Passenger, you know, you talk about aggression and beauty. You've got Mr. James Maynard Keenan of Tool. I'm a big Tool fan. I think some of the fans are assholes, but there we go. I can't wait till I do a Tool worst to best. But yeah, he works so well on this song. And it's a great chorus, and it feels like you're in a fast car for sure. Songs like Korea and Elite, which I am putting as my favourite song on the album, absolutely furious and devastatingly heavy. And I think the reason I've put Elite on here is it's just great to headbang, and it's, you know, I've just decided let's put a great heavy song on here. Obviously, White Pony, infamous for incorporating more atmosphere and other elements into the music other than just metal. But yeah, Elite, I'm going to put it on now for myself. When you're ripe, you'll bleed out of control. When you're ripe, you'll bleed out of control. You'll bleed out of control. When you're ripe, you'll bleed out of control, not breed. And I'm looking at the lyrics here. This song must be one of the most repetitive and bland Deftones songs in terms of the lyrics. And I've just put it as my favourite song from my favourite album. Doesn't mean it's my favourite Deftones song entirely, that is Rosemary. But it's just heavy. It's a great riff. The entire band sound great. It's not about the lyrics necessarily. I remember a group back in the day on Last FM. If you're young, you might not know what Last FM is. It was awesome until these corporate arseholes took it out and ruined it. But there was a group saying it's all about the lyrics, and I was like, no, it isn't. It's all about the music. What are you talking about? Chino could be talking about what colour bloody underpants he had on, and I wouldn't care. That is an amazing song, and yeah, I'll put it down as my favourite on the album. It's my favourite heavy song on the album. But Digital Bath, oh my days. Fans of the band know what that's about. Chino thinking about what it's like to put a toaster in a bath and fry a woman to death. Okay, why not? Absolutely fucked up, you maniac. But there we go. RX Queen with the late great Scott Weiland on vocals. I didn't even know Scott Weiland was on vocals with that one, guys. A nice metallic clanging outro as well. I've put Teenager, absolutely beautiful. Is it the most sweet and melancholy Deftones song? A sad song as well, maybe so. Korea, that reminds me of Helmet, the band Helmet. If you like Deftones, you never listened to Helmet, let me tell you, you were missing out. And there's a lyric in that one about daytime pony, obviously the White Pony, the album, work your pitch or something. And I'm sure Helmet have got a song that sounds just like that lyrically, not exactly the same. Inspiration from that. And the song Feiticeira, it's a Brazilian name, obviously they're big friends with Max Cavalera. That first song on the album, it's a Brazilian woman's name. Yeah, and it's got a nice balance of Chino's clean vocals, screamed vocals, and there's still a few rapped vocals here in the album as well. And just before I stop and say that this video's done, we can't help but finish talking about Pink Maggot, which is a great song, but it gets overshadowed, and sometimes I kind of forget about it because if you don't know, ladies and gentlemen, and I don't hate it, but there's a song called Back to School Mini Maggot, which opens the album up. Basically, long story short, the label wanted the band to put this at the start of the album for an easier to listen to track, and it's probably the worst on the album. It just shows you these suits have no idea what they're talking about. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been running in an hour now. I'm still not happy. How can you talk an hour about music and still not have said enough? It's incredible. But that's why we love music. That's why we love this band. Deftones, forever, as Anthony Fantano would say, if we're still allowed to talk about that man. But, ladies and gentlemen, Alexander Hilly signing off. Thanks for watching if anybody has. Watch it in 2 times speed. I should have said that at the start of the video. I'll put it in the comments section actually, because then an hour long video becomes a 30-minute video. But yeah, what a great discography. Sorry for rambling, but I had to do this one. Coming up next in 3 or 4 months, Led Zeppelin. It's time to upset some boomers. See you in a bit, guys. Bye-bye.